Welcome back. Yes, my hair's not cut. Yes, I've spent the last 84 hours straight gaming. Yes, I'm starting to lose my sanity. But that's just how it is sometimes, Chief. Today, we're going to be continuing my so far short-lived open world wonder series, moving on to, in my opinion, one of the most underrated games of our generation. A game that, in my opinion, should be in conversation for one of the better games of all time. Of course, that game is Sleeping Dogs. So without further ado, make sure to hit like, and if you're new here, hit subscribe, and let's get into Sleeping Dogs, an underrated gem. Released back in August of 2012, Sleeping Dogs came out to a plethora of praise, along with multiple weeks at the top of the UK games charts. But since its successful launch, and its definitive edition released in 2014, the game feels like it's essentially been forgotten. Amidst a cancelled sequel, a cancelled multiplayer spin-off, and a supposed film production that's seemed to have lost all traction, it has seemed that the franchise as a whole is dead in the water. But that will never take away from the fact that the original title is fantastic. Taking place in modern Hong Kong, the game's surprisingly large open world is fairly detailed and full of content, with collectibles and side missions actually providing the player tangible rewards, making this game a beauty to any completionist. Along with the open world, the gameplay systems probably contain the most consistent quality of any game I've played in a long time. The driving has a learning curve but is functional, the gunplay is energetic and engaging, the parkour chases are scripted but still really fun, but where this game shines the most is in its incredible combat system. Sleeping Dogs is a game that really embraces Hong Kong's culture, both ancient and contemporary. And the most prevalent example of this is the incorporation of Kung Fu as the main combat style. The game's combat is akin to many of the time, having a counter-heavy system, but the fighting mechanic is so much deeper than that. As you progress through the game, you learn new techniques, progressively making the Kung Fu not only more functional, but also more flashy, with the devastating final move you learn genuinely feeling like a reward for engaging in the system. Oh, yeah, and you can do environmental attacks, which are just so satisfying.
Damn, Wayne! What did they do to you in America, man?
The real key to Sleeping Dogs, though, is the story. We take the streets as undercover cop Wei Shen, a man with a history in the infamous Triad gangs. Reconnecting with old friend Jackie Ma, we're introduced to the Sun On Yi, the largest triad in Hong Kong, and we watch as Wei rises through the ranks, building relationships with countless quality side characters like Winston, Conroy, Inspector Tang, and Uncle Po. Now, I don't want to spoil the game's story completely, because to be honest, it's one of my favourite stories in gaming, and I feel like anyone who hasn't played it should have the chance to experience it. So without spoiling too much, we eventually see Wei become attached to his triad, potentially truly becoming one of them, as he's considered a high-risk operative by his police handler Raymond. Wei's conflict throughout the story between protecting the people he loves and doing his duty is done excellently, and eventually we come to realise that the police and the Sun On Yi aren't all that different. Although it's by no means perfect, with numerous pacing issues and the occasional confusing moment, Sleeping Dogs' narrative does stand out as one of the better and often more underrated stories in the medium. This quality story is also intertwined with some fantastic mission moments. Whether it be the burning of a warehouse, doing actual detective work to find a serial killer, having high-speed explosion-filled chases on the motorway, or sneaking into a Shaolin temple to pick flowers just to have to fight your way out past highly trained warrior monks, the game is continuously varied and constantly utilises all of its mechanics in the best ways possible, with the game never getting repetitive or dull, never dragging, never having too long between interesting moments. The quality and the variety of set pieces and missions in Sleeping Dogs is something that I feel a lot of games today lack, and its willingness to go above and beyond with the missions is something that honestly just makes me feel more sad about games like Mafia 3 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. The final mission goes on to incorporate every single game mechanic that's been introduced throughout the entire game, allowing the player not only to feel like they've achieved something, but also making them feel like a badass in the process. These main missions, as I mentioned earlier, are also intensely boosted by the side missions. Whether it be the surprisingly fun races, the challenging fight clubs, the face missions that expand the cast of characters, the cop jobs that flip the script, or the date missions where you sing karaoke and then, well, you know. And real quick, even though I don't usually mention DLC in these videos, I couldn't wrap this up without mentioning the Zodiac Tournament, a DLC which is a quick section that focuses on combat and pays homage to classic kung fu movies absolutely beautifully. To put it very simply, Sleeping Dogs is just a quality game. This video has been shorter than most videos I make like this, and that's for good reason, because it's very simple. Sleeping Dogs all round is just great, and every part of it is at least good. Maybe one day I'll make a full 30 to 40 minute retrospective of the entire game. But right now, I just want to recommend the game to anyone who hasn't played it. I just want to say that you should give this game a go. I just want to give this game that in my formative years I played countless times the praise and respect I think it deserves, and the praise and respect I feel it never gets. Because in some cases, you don't need massively in-depth analysis. In some cases, you don't need a 30-minute long video essay to explain why something is great. You don't need to be a geologist to spot a diamond. Because at the end of the day, that's exactly what Sleeping Dogs is. An underrated and forgotten gem. Thanks so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, it'd really help me out if you could hit like. Also, I do read every single comment, so feel free to tell me down below. Have you played Sleeping Dogs? Are you now going to play it or replay it after this video? Let me know. Also, if you're new here and want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe. And with that being said, I've been Joe, aka Founded Scarab, and I'll see you in the next one.